All right, I think I'm live. What's up, everybody? In today's video, all right, we're talking about House of the Dragon. Woo! Well, maybe not like a woo, but still, I have some comments here. I just want to talk to you about the premiere episode of this new show. I watched it last night. I slept on it. I gathered my thoughts. I did watch a couple other reviews, but no one's going to give you the commentary that I'm about to give you, so I don't really feel like it affected me that much. If anything, I was kind of more pissed at the comment section in these videos because, man, people don't get it. Wow. But anyways, House of the Dragon is finally here. I kind of pissed because I had to buy an HBO subscription, and that made me feel really, really icky. I absolutely detest how now subscription services, it's either you pay this much for, a subscription with ads, or you can get like premium without ads. And I hate everything about that. I think it's gross. I wish you could almost just buy the show. I don't want the whole lexicon of what HBO has to offer. I don't want any of that crap. I just want to watch this one show and then peace. You know what I mean? So yeah, House of the Dragon. Where do we begin? Some of my predictions were accurate. Some of them, we're gonna have to just sort of like wait and see. But overall, it wasn't that bad. It was not that bad, especially for sort of the first episode. Usually, it takes a couple episodes to get into something. They have to, lay down an entire sort of scene and narrative and sort of place you into their world. So I understand that can be sometimes hard to juggle. So I'm leaving room. I'm leaving myself open for potentially something great coming out of the show. But I am a little bit nervous. I am nervous for a couple different reasons. One, the feminism is so awkward and out of control. It's very, very, very hard to look past. We knew this sort of going into the show, how they were framing it. I had talked about different podcasts and different people talking about why can't we just have a woman on the throne? I don't really know why this is still, talked about. It's as if like women haven't ruled in history, or there aren't literally right now women in control of entire countries. But for some reason that escapes them, and they feel like they live in this. Oh, whatever. We'll get into this. But yeah, the feminism out of control. If I hear a patriarchy one more time in a fantasy world, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Okay, it is. Like first of all, it opens up with this sort of prologue scene, which, it wasn't that bad. I think it was necessary to sort of introduce what's going on. But the prologue dialogue really could have been cleaned up. And the dialogue throughout, as we're going to see, could really be cleaned up. Very clumsy in a lot of areas. And what you can really tell is that they have this great source material. They have everything sort of laid out in front of them, and the places where they need to sort of fill in gaps, the bar and the standard of excellence compared to George R. R. Martin is very, very noticeable to me, especially in the dialogue. But yeah, so it opens up with this prologue, whatever. It doesn't seem like they have an intro yet. The Game of Thrones, like I had mentioned, they have this sort of Minecraft, Cities Rising sort of intro. We didn't see any of that in this premiere episode. Maybe they'll bring something like that into the next ones. I'm not sure. But then the very next scene is Rhaenyra on dragonback flying around, and that's pretty cool. The CGI element, for the most part, is really well done. The world is very, very beautifully laid out. It's lit well. For the most part, and visually appealing. You can't deny that. It wasn't like it was hard to watch in that respect. The music, again, that first sort of scene of her flying in on the dragon had, I don't know if that was a Targaryen theme or Daenerys' theme. I'm not sure, but it was music from the previous show, and they played different parts of the previous show's music throughout, which was fine. I kind of want to see where the music part goes, because I was like a 6 out of 10. I wasn't like wowed, again, because they have first of all, they have 8 seasons of a show already, that already laid a lot of this groundwork, and they then have this huge thick ass book of source material. So I think you have all of this stuff, you're gonna have to do it you're gonna have to really bring it, and I don't know if they really brought it yet, but we'll see. So the music, I don't really know yet. It doesn't really seem like they've done anything really new yet. But anyways, going back to the dialogue, after this sort of flying in dragon scene, She goes and visits her very pregnant mother, and they have this whole conversation, which is again the first conversation, one of the first conversations in this whole series, and it's about the dread of being a mother, and like, oh, you have to give birth to children, and how horrible is that, and how the young Rhaenyra, she just wants to be a knight, she just wants to be a boy, and just like right off to battle. And it's just like, it's very hard for me to take this world seriously when they try to overlay the distortions of our current time into this fantasy realm. Okay, imagine you are a dragon rider, you have a huge fire breathing dragon underneath you, your family rules the world, and yet still it's like, these awful men, these awful men, I have this huge fire breathing dragon, but I am a woman, and it's just, I don't know if the word is cognitive dissonance, but it's just like it's very hard for my brain to have these two concepts coexist. They had this like gruesome like childbirthing scene where it got like kind of rapey because they decided to take one themselves, and this wasn't in the books. The mother just sort of died during childbirth, but they made it into this whole thing of like the mother is like alive and they're like cutting the child out of her against her will. It was very uncomfortable to watch that, and I thought it was very unnecessary. Again, not in the book. Not that I'm opposed to violence or like gruesome, but it's just like the only reason it was in there, it was again to push this narrative of patriarchy, and it's really 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 hard to sort of watch that. Again, throughout it was just exactly what you sort of would expect, and that's why I was just sort of like, okay, this is good. It's not the worst thing I've seen in the world, but it's sort of checking off all the wokeism boxes that we had predicted. Corlys Velaryon, his character, he's the black guy with the blonde dreads. I thought he was fine. I think he'll probably carry his part just fine. But it's like strange again because they overlay these concepts like patriarchy and all this like wokeism stuff. But then like the race stuff isn't like talked about. But then they're at this like tournament scene, okay, with like thousands and thousands of people. They're in this whole world, but like Corlys Velaryon's the only black guy. He's the only black guy in this like whole world. So you would think these people, these like farmers, peasant people, who are all around like white people their entire life, and then they see like a black guy, you would think they would be like, whoa, just sort of like, whoa, I've never seen a black guy before. But it's like not even commented on. It's very similar to what was that fucking play that was so overrated, where they had like George Washington being the black, like played by a black. It was just it just like doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So they try to push these wokeism concepts, yet in a world where like race just like isn't even like seen. Like I'm colorblind. You know what I mean? It's hard in my brain to follow stuff like that. And again, nothing against the Corlys Velaryon actor. I think he's doing fine. I think he'll do just fine throughout this show. But it is strange to have like a whole world of a European fantasy Knights of the Round Table world have one black guy and then it like not be commented on at all. And I bring that up only because the Targaryens are supposed to be this like very specific niche rare like phenotype of blonde hair, purple eyes, they can control dragons and stuff. They're the last of this old breed of people, and the blonde hair, it's rare, it's a sign of royalty, etc. Yet there's an even rarer phenotype around them, and it's not common. It's strange. It's very strange for me. Just like in what the fuck was that called? It's that big play that was popular in like 2016 with all the liberals about like the founding of our country, with all like the rap. I don't know, but that's like the parallel I kind of like get drawn to. But anyways, where can we put some positive spins? I guess we'll continue with the dialogue. A positive part here is the Valyrian talk. There's a scene between Daemon and Rhaenyra, actually a couple of them, where they speak in Valyrian tongue and it's all subtitled. And I thought that was very well done. I didn't think about that at all, about them being able to speak, Valyrian. And I thought that was well done. The dialogue there was well done. It sort of made sense. I was like, okay, this is I can do this. But then there are other like really, really, really clumsy dialogue moments where they're trying to push a lot of it's not necessarily foreshadowing because this is a prequel show, but they're like laying these sort of they call them like Easter eggs, I guess is the word, and it doesn't really make sense because none of this, like these Easter eggs, are talked about in the book. And for example, he's like talking about this dream, this song of ice and fire, which is, it's almost, I don't know, it's very awkward. It's very awkward, clumsy dialogue. That whole scene was sort of towards the end, with Rhaenyra and her father, beneath the skull of Balerion. And I was like watching that, and then at the end, I sort of was thinking about it. I'm like, I could have written this scene so much better, the dialogue so much better, because they really teeter in between this. I don't know if there's a word for it, but it's when the cast is commenting on what's obviously happening right in front of them that we're all watching, like the person's giving birth and they'll be talking about, oh, she's giving birth, it becomes like that obvious sort of redundancy. And the dialogue really teeters there. And again, maybe because it's the first episode, I'll give them some sort of break, but if anything, this is just pushing me to be like, the hell do I break into this sort of a writing gig like this? Because there's just like these tweaks that they could do that would make it so much more realistic and really make the show go like, wow. But it falls flat for me. Maybe I have high standards, I'm not sure. But when you're listening to the dialogue, at least in my opinion, it could be better. Again, the CGI was good, except one scene when they're lighting her dead mother and her dead baby brother's bodies up, like in a funeral pyre, and the dragon sort of lights it aflame. And that, I swear, the flames and that little like short sequence of the dragon lighting it on fire, that the CGI used in that frame is really not too dissimilar from like the 1992 cult classic Hocus Pocus, which I love so much. And there's like a scene where they like explode out of the fucking roof, and those sort of flames, etc. It looked very, very similar to now in 2022, this dragon lighting something up. The whole world and the lighting and stuff was well done, but in this like particular scene, I was like, I don't know if they really nail the fire. And I'm not the only one who said this. I remember I actually went on a date like 5 years ago now, with someone who worked in animation on the Star Wars films, and he was sort of breaking down the Game of Thrones CGI for me and what was well done and what was like pretty forthright. And he had talked about the fire being like not that well done. And in this scene, I kind of see what he means. So we'll see where that goes. As far as the cast goes, I thought Matt Smith, who's playing Daemon Targaryen, did pretty well. Whoever they cast as the young Alicent Hightower, I think she's beautiful. I noticed her in the trailer, and I was like, that very, very, very well done, both as from an actress point of view and just like cast well. I thought she plays that part well, but I think she'll be phased out within an episode or two because they have to keep the timeline going, and right now they're more in their younger selves. But yeah, Alicent was cast well. And well, after the credits at the end of the show, they do like a director's sort of minor commentary type thing. And Ryan Condal is, I don't know what exactly his title is, if he's director or producer or whatever, but he seemed cool in the beginning, but now I think he's teetering towards a total fucking fool. Okay. Because the first words out of his mouth in this director's commentary is like, here we are in this world of, again, that word again, patriarchy. We're in a world of magic and dragons, yet, there's this patriarchy concept that this world can't get itself rid of. And it's very hard to stomach. It's very embarrassing. And I don't know, the guy seems like he's probably queer in his personal life, but you would think that, especially after the way Game of Thrones ended, and then all of the commentary and videos that have been made, before this current show was even started, and what people are a little bit hesitant about, that they would have taken that into consideration, but they seem to just be like, fuck it, we're going to go full hundies with the feminism. And it's so hard because the world that they rule, these people voted. Okay, remember, they love democracy, get out and vote. These lords voted that they want a man, to succeed the current king, and not a woman. Not that it was so black and white as far as gender goes, but it was, the people were like, no, we want a dude, sorry, and they voted on it, and they were like, okay, that's how it's going to be. The very next generation, the girl's like, actually, no, I want to rule. There's no reason why a girl shouldn't be able to rule. it's so hard, you know. It reminds me very much of just like the situation in America right now, where the ruling elite think they know what's best for everybody else, even though it's like, no, we're voting and we're telling you what we want and what we need, and you just continue to disregard that, you know, and then you think that you're going to be this great leader, yet you don't listen to the people, your constituents, because you're such a great leader, you know. Um, but I don't know. The feminism stuff we're just gonna have to maybe stomach through because I don't think we're gonna get out of this alive without it. But overall, I'm excited to see where this show goes. Again, not the worst thing I've seen. It's very, very rare to see good content these days. So I give them, you know, a minor round of applause for again just adapting an already like wait laid out book. Like that's the part where I'm like, okay, it's good, but you already had like 95% of the work done for you. You know, like where are these great people that you brought onto the team that are going to take it to the next level instead of just sort of, you know, sitting in the shallow end of this sort of like fourth rate Tumblr fan fiction dialogue, which is what we've been getting. And it shouldn't be like that. What is it, the world in fashion? They say, you know, if you're going to do something simple, it has to be perfect. And I think if you're going to be adapting a book that's okay, a book that is this thick, all right. Not to mention it has, you know, what, like half a dozen plus other books of the same world that you can gather source material and ideas from. You have all of that there already like flushed out for you by, you know, George R. R. Martin, who's great and we love him so much. But then the parts where they had to fill in the gaps, again, largely to do, there's not much dialogue in this book, but like dialogue and stuff, they just the talent is not there, you know. There was one scene I will give credit for between Daemon and King Viserys. This was towards the end, and Daemon's like, "You're weak, Viserys," you know, and that I thought that was done well enough that I was like, okay, this is fine. This is fine. You know, not groundbreaking, you know, not shook, but I was like, okay, this has me, you know, involved. But then like the next scene is what I had already described between Viserys, his daughter, underneath this skull, and they're talking back and forth, and the dialogue is so forced and unnatural, and but that's something we see across the board. So I can't really complain about that. I just know that when you have like the showrunner director guy Ryan Condal come out in the first episode's first director's cut, and then the first sentence he says the word patriarchy, you know that we're in for a fucking shit show. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Like I keep saying, you know, HBO, I think there's probably I think there's like 10 episodes in this season. So if there's an episode released every Sunday, so like 2 months. Okay, so I'll have an HBO subscription for a couple months, which will total into probably did I do the ad? I think I did ads. Pretty sure I did ads. So 10 times like $30 ish, maybe 40 altogether to watch this series. Not maybe the end of the world, but we shall see. We shall see. I'm still holding my breath. Not the worst thing I've seen, not the best thing I've seen, giving leeway because it is the first episode and you have to do a lot of sort of foundational bricklaying. And I know that can't always be easy when you're messing with different sort of timelines and trying to place things. It is very challenging, but a lot of times we'll just leave it there. We're going to leave it there for today. I would like to make another video on sort of my other normal commentary. I had a really great conversation yesterday with this group of boomers at the lake that I would love to share with y'all. But anyways, House of the Dragon, go see it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited because like I said, I was listening to a couple of the reviews and the commentary, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, I love it so much," and I was like, "Yeah, it's good, but it's not like." I don't think we're going to get out of this wokeism trap soon. Maybe this show can lead us out of it if there's enough of a reaction, but I guess only time will tell. Anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there for right now. I will be back very, very soon, for sure next Monday, to talk about episode 2. And we're going to go from there and ride this train till the bitter end. Anyways, I love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.